Happy New Year. This is here if you need it. I debated sharing this morning, but this being my personal meditation archive, I felt it would be disingenuous not to. So this one feels like more for me, but if you're watching this and you resonate, take what helps, leave what doesn't. I was reading a book on Zen this morning, and in it, they were talking about the path to enlightenment and how before you're on the path, the mountains are just mountains. When you're on the path, the mountains are symbolic and important and deeply moving. And when you're enlightened, the mountains are just mountains. I've realized a lot in my own inner awakenings for the past couple years that it can get heady, it can get deep, and there are landmines to it. There are certain things that can trip you up, trip me up along the way. I feel like similar to quicksand, when you're in it and you try really hard to move around and free yourself, you just sink deeper. But when you can stop moving, you stay afloat. Oh, we got a cat. I've been realizing a lot lately that with a lot of my own personal inner work, I've been really trying to get out of the quicksand, really trying. And in a lot of ways, it's materialized in control. It's materialized in me believing that I can will my way out, think my way out, believe my way out. When in actuality, much like anything in Taoism or Zen teachings, there's a present mind that in truth is the only reality, but is also the only real place to come from. I shared, my thoughts here, and by no means do I think I'm an authority on any of it. And by no means do I think that everything I'm saying I'm gonna believe tomorrow, you know. But it is an active archive of going through these things. And I feel like in my own personal life, I've been feeling this deep sense of being out of control. But to be out of control, you have to first believe that there's something you are supposed to control. At least in my own inner life and in my own inner world, I was holding to opinions, holding to beliefs, and holding to what ought to happen, as opposed to living and recognizing the beauty of what is happening. I was comparing myself to what I wasn't, and I was allowing hiccups to destabilize foundations that I've spent a good amount of time, you know, building or at least unearthing within myself. It's a new year, and I think the main theme for me right now, this chapter is stabilization. To be able to stabilize my viewpoint and where I'm sitting from. They talk about there's a statue of the Buddha, right? This amazing, impressive stone statue. And they use it to symbolize the unwavering mind. How snow could fall on top of it and melt away, or a bird can come and shit on it, and that same rain will come and wash it away as well. But the mind itself is immovable. It is the oneness. It is just here. I feel like for me personally, getting back to the root of that is very important. Getting back to the root of oneness is very important. And there's no point in sharing my visions or my thoughts or the realizations I have without being able to understand that coming from an opinion perspective is the same as just digging a grave. Creating everything and creating belief patterns and systems based off opinion separates me from the rest of what's going on out here. And I find it very important right now to set this year by saying it's important to understand that all the time I'm spending in the I is keeping me from the us. So today, this week, this year, even rooting myself in consistent practice within saying, hey, there is nothing to control. There is nothing outside of this present moment. There is nothing that requires more of you than now. And in seeding and nurturing the now, the future takes care of itself. I could stress, I could worry, I could think a lot, I could find myself reenacting and reliving a bunch of things. But at the same time, it's the truest wisdom is just realizing that you can only shake hands with the universe in the present. So for me, going into this year, it's reaffirming that. It's taking that with me and saying, hey, there's a garbage truck. It's taking everything that is weighing me down, an opinion, a need for control, a narrative, and saying, this isn't helping me. This isn't serving me where I'm going. We can get imprisoned by our desires just as easily as we can get imprisoned by our struggles. The difference is with struggle, I think it is the most active and immediate way to tell yourself something's wrong. In desire, it's you'll get there, but you may not be fortunate enough to get there as immediately because it could feel good for a decent amount of time. You know, having a brownie is tasty and delicious and you'll enjoy it, but if they said, hey, you have to sit here and eat 100 of them, it would be an awful experience. So for me, going into this year and moving forward, it's understanding that us, the I, and what this is immovable, unshakable presence. And the further I feel the need to control, the need to make sense of, and the need to occupy, the more I give myself the the shovel that digs my own grave. I know it sounds a little morbid, but it can feel like that sometimes. I know for anybody else, when things just don't feel like they're going right, it could feel like the end of the world. It could feel difficult. It could feel all encompassing. But for me today, I want to take the time to come back from that. I don't have to change every opinion I have. I just have to recognize that I'm having one and I have to separate myself from it. I don't have to remove control by controlling that feeling. I just have to recognize that I'm seeking it. And then from there, other things can blossom, other things can grow. But for me right now, it's imperative to just recognize it. Hope everybody had an amazing new year. I hope this year brings you, everything that you need, everything that will continue to evolve you and push us closer and closer to the unity and the realization that we are, in fact, all one and all part of this thing together. Yeah, to many more. This is here if you need it.